second which way to go, I went, scrolled. Yeah.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. This is
Hello.
not Twitch, right? Because
Hello,
Twitch
hello.
is something different.
Hey, yo, that's cool.
Yo, yo.
Right?
We're on the TV.
Oh, that's our.
This is not Twitch,
That's-
right? Because Twitch is
Cool. So good. That's our live.
hello, hello. This is not Twitch.
Oh,
That's a little delayed, right?
that's our banner.
Should I put on music in the background or not?
Maybe just something like how we usually do it, you know?
Something subtle.
Yeah.
Why? They look like
You said
alcohol.
the devil or something like that.
Yeah, but when I first saw Liquid Death, I thought it was bad too. I thought it was like alcohol,
You said it was something about the devil.
but
Oh, is that fake?
turns out it's just water.
I don't know. I don't know because I don't know exactly why. This is pretty exciting. I actually kind of like the idea.
It's
I
interesting.
haven't been live in a minute. Waiting for everyone to tune in. I guess we'll just do a hard start at what? 9:15 of what? Leading up, so we just shoot the. I don't know how YouTube. Okay, we should be good.
9:15. Oh, were you like? This is gonna be like raw, or were you like edit? You know, the slow parts, like for example, the beginning, until we just hard start, or this is all gonna be a part of it too.
This yeah.
This is gonna be all part of it too.
It's live, bro.
Okay.
It's hard, bro. We're hard.
So interesting. What episode is this?
This would be episode 26.
So we did 25. We did a quarter of pre-recorded, edited podcasts.
Yeah.
So now I guess we're doing a halfway marker and switching to live.
Confessions. Like you need to know the numbers too.
Sure.
It is.
Nah, never mind. I'm good. I just posted it like that.
I posted
Yeah.
it like that too. I was like, maybe I should have put the link, but
I just put live.
it's whatever.
Live on YouTube, that confessions. I need to talk into the mic. My bad. But how's your week been, Jeremy?
Dude, it's been busy. It's like nonstop. I remember over the summer, I wasn't really doing too much, right? And then I get busy all of a sudden. And the crazy thing is it wasn't even a gradual, like, getting busy. It was just like, here, boom.
Just
Yeah.
jumped into busyness right away.
Yeah, I just jumped in the pool, in the deep end. Don't even know how to swim yet.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah, and it feels good. And something about turning 24 too makes you realize, like, damn, you know?
You're 24?
Yeah.
Bro, I thought we were like 2 years apart.
I mean, almost 2 years apart.
No, we're literally like a year, maybe a year and a half.
Year and a half going
Not
on
even.
too, so
Not even, because we're only a few months apart. Because you turned 24
April.
in
yeah.
April. He turns 24 in September.
Yeah.
a
May,
few months
June,
apart.
July, August, September. So about like 5 months, 6 months.
About 5. Yeah. Yeah. I was
Crazy.
Like, damn, this man's grown. He's just like.
He's just like us.
And I'm just like, oh my goodness. I wonder why.
Ew.
I wonder why I was hanging out with pretty hard
How was your birthday?
core the past 2 years. It was great, bro. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, pretty much, I celebrated my birthday over the course of like a week or two. Because then I went to 2 concerts for free. Shout out my brother. He got the Hudson Westbrook. And then shout out one of my friends. She got the Parker McCollum concerts. And then my brother also took me to Colorado to watch Cam Ward's debut. And I'm not going to lie. I was pretty happy with the game. I wasn't sad.
Did they win?
We lost.
Of course.
But, hey, hear me out, though. Hear me out. People thought they were going to beat us like 50-0, bro. They struggled to beat us and barely put away in the fourth quarter.
That was an L, bro. And that was an L.
Supposedly the first number 1 overall defense in the league.
Is that the start of the season?
Yeah, it was game 1. It was his debut.
Who'd they play?
There's the Titans and Broncos.
Uh,
So I'm happy with it. But it was, bro. Despite the game, it was a crazy experience. Like the atmosphere, the scenery, like their pregame rituals. Like every stadium, every football team has pregame rituals. Theirs was, I mean, of course they did the flyover, but then they also had this other plane flyover beforehand, and 3 guys jumped out and they just parachuted and skydived down into the field. It was crazy. And then you look at it, they're coming down so fast. I was like, man, this can easily go so wrong. This can easily go so wrong. Like, but they pulled it off. There's like 4 guys that do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like a good experience.
It was
Let me
great.
ask you this. This is a deeper question.
Remember,
Are you still
we'll do a
sober?
hard. We'll do a hard start at 15.
As far as what kind of,
No. When we talk about sober, we talk about
from everything.
Everything. That's sober. Completely cold turkey.
Everything.
Nothing. Yeah.
No, I am not. I'll be honest. I'll be accountable.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I saw a picture and it
Mhm.
looked like a brewski in your hand. I was like,
When?
This
I
was
think JD
at the game.
posted it.
Yeah.
JD posted.
But I'll be honest, I'm not no more.
Okay.
I did it, but I felt comfortable enough to do it because I went so long without it. It's like, okay, I can easily do it again.
I was having this conversation with my sister the other day, and by other day I mean today. But
Like an hour ago.
but it's because the temptation's still there, you know. Like I crave mainly smoking. I enjoyed smoking, you know, marijuana.
Yeah.
But
I think you can say weed.
yeah, I don't know the rules on YouTube, but I started asking, like questioning, like, hey, is there any verse in the Bible that is kind of against marijuana? And technically there's not anything specifically stating something about marijuana. I heard a verse that would say, what was it, where anything from the flesh, like you shouldn't listen to the flesh, you should follow God's guidance. So I'm like, okay, hey, then that makes me feel like I need to avoid it. And then I think there's another verse of something where you shouldn't drink to like get drunk or something like that, where I know when Jesus turned that water into wine for everyone, you know, everyone's drinking. So I think it's, as long as it's maybe not addicting or where it's an actual problem, maybe it's okay. I wouldn't know. I'm not too knowledgeable on when it comes to the Bible talking about certain drugs and alcohol, but based off my understanding, it's as long as it's not addictive, a problem to where you're getting like drunk, like out of your mind, then that's okay, you know.
Yeah, I guess when it comes to that, there's that common saying, everything in moderation. I mean, it doesn't say alcohol is bad or a sin, but getting drunk is a sin. It doesn't say sex is a sin. It's sex before marriage. You know, it's just like not completely condemning it and no, you can't do it at all. It's banned. I feel like it's more of a moderation as long as it doesn't affect your, you know, your personal goals and your relationships with your family. Like if you're getting drunk to the point where you come home and you start fighting with your wife and your kids get scared with you, you know what I mean? That's when it's a problem. But if you like go out with your wife, you order a whiskey on the rock, she gets a cute little fancy margarita drink, and that's, you know, maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Eat a nice little steak, call it good, go home.
My sister had a good point. She said a lot of the things in the Bible has to do with balance, you know, a good balance with everything. And maybe that's a good point. Because would you guys say that anything and everything could be a sin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's always about putting God first in anything that you choose to do. But it's 9:16, so real quick. Welcome back to the #1 podcast in the world. It is the Confessions Podcast. Tonight, we are live for the first time. Damn it, Raul.
Technical difficulties already. We talked about
The
this
hell,
and we
bro?
planned this. Man, what timing that was. What timing that was.
As soon as we're about to start.
Everybody boo this man.
Boo.
Boo.
Anyways, as always, I'm joined by Brother Jerome, Ragu. I'm fatherderek. Welcome to the Confessions Podcast. A little change, a little different than how we usually do it. Going live for the first time for this. We've never done a podcast live, not yet. So this is a first for us. So bear with us as we do this. I hope that whoever's in here, I hope that y'all enjoy because we've said this before that confessions is really the more real side of us, and I think is something that's gonna live longer than anything else that we do. But yeah, man. As we were talking about was balance, right? And the sins that we choose to partake in, and I think sin is ultimately it's what separates you from God. Ultimately, that's what sin boils down to. What pushes you away from your relationship with God? Is it pulling you closer? Then it's not. Is it pushing you away? Then it is. And if something starts replacing God, for example, alcohol or drugs or things like that, that's whenever it becomes a sin, right? And so it all boils down to, I think that if you can ask yourself, is this bringing me closer to God or is this pushing me away from God? Then that's a simple way of putting it. But yeah, but I still haven't drank. I still don't really have a desire to drink. Been sober for so long. I don't have a desire for it. And I don't know. The longer that I'm going on, the longer I'm thinking like, man, I might stay sober for, I don't know who knows how long. But as of right now, I don't see any time soon me feeling the need to break it.
Luckily, I haven't broke it yet, but I don't think I'll stay sober for the rest of my life. If I'm being honest, I think there's a moment at a time, and I just haven't found that moment or time to want to drink. I think I have the desire more for smoking. I've been craving that heavily these past, I don't know, maybe month or two. I've been mentioning it a couple of times, so I've been craving it. It's just, at the same time I look at it, I'm just like, oh, it's sin, you know. I don't want to cross that line yet, you know. So I don't know. I just haven't yet. So we'll see when I decide to. As of right now, I feel more locked in and more focused.
For me, it wasn't necessarily like, I don't feel bad about it. I don't regret it. It's more like, oh, okay, let me try it. I enjoyed it. It's not like I never even had a problem to begin with in the first place. And it's, you know, I don't feel that way about like smoking. I haven't vaped or did a ciggy, you know, or anything like that in so long. Or even like liquor. I drank, it was beer, but like smelling liquor, like smelling smoke gets me sick now. It gives me a headache, makes me nauseous. Like, dang, I was really drinking this poison. I was really inhaling this, you know, I guess toxins, poison from cigarettes, tobacco. But I look back at it and I'm like, dang, you know, I've grown so much that I know I can control myself. I can make myself, you know, do things in moderation. I don't have an addictive personality. It's more like experiencing new things, trying new things, you know. And I was with my brother. It was a crazy experience. I don't think, you know, would ever happen again, for me at least. And if it does, it'll be a long time from now. So I found it worth it. And I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna lie to y'all either. I do probably see myself casually drinking as I go forward. Casually though, not, you know, getting drunk, blacked out, fighting, beer muscles. It's more of like, you know, if I go out with some family, we're having a dinner, if they offer me beer, yeah. If my friend's like, hey, you want to have a beer and catch up? Yeah, like, let's go, you know, let's talk. You know, I'm gonna listen and, you know, hope you listen to me type of thing. And I know you don't need that, but it's more of kind of like a relaxation type of thing. It's just you and that person.
No, yeah, I definitely understand it. And I think as of more recently, when we were drinking and we were smoking, I didn't notice any, like, between the three of us, I didn't notice any problems with it. You know, I didn't think we got shit-faced drunk or... Can I cuss? Are we allowed to cuss on YouTube?
I don't know.
I'll try to...
I would try to err on the side of not cursing.
Okay, I'll lean towards that then. But I don't think we had that problem of getting, like, very drunk or smoking too much. I think it was very controlled, so...
But sometimes when we did do it, it was overdid. In my opinion, I think.
See, I have also a problem of where if I want to do something, I want to go all the way, you know? I don't like...
It's like, we didn't do it.
half effort into something, you know? If we're going to do something, let's go all the way.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It's like, because we didn't do it every day. We didn't do it every weekend. But when we did do it, dang, I don't want to do it no more after tonight, you know what I mean? That's how it felt.
But it was always a good time, and afterwards, we would have a good old laugh about it. You know,
That's the thing, you can't say that getting drunk isn't fun. It is
yeah,
fun.
we always
Like,
had a good time.
There's people that say getting drunk isn't fun. They're lying. It is fun. That's why it's addicting, right? It's just like drugs. Like you do drugs, they feel good. That's why they're addicting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why. Yeah, drinking is fun. It's a great time.
I
But-
don't think they have any sort of good consequences though. Like
No,
the
there's-
hangovers, you know,
yeah,
they're
there's-
terrible.
there's
Yeah, in the
no-
grand scheme of things, it's more negative than positive. It's more in the moment type of fun.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
fun.
In the moment, it's fun.
Sending it. And we
Live too
usually
long.
us three we have a good time, you know. We
Yeah.
usually have a good time.
Us three, Tommy. Yeah.
Yeah. Good time.
But I wouldn't go back to that, honestly. Not that type of lifestyle. Not that type of drinking. Not that
those
type
the
of-
right moments, the right
It
people.
would really, it would really have to
I'm telling you,
depend.
It
It would
gotta be
really
like
have
a
to
wedding or
depend.
something.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm gonna say. If it
It
was
gotta
when
be
you was
someone
wedding,
married or
yeah. But even then, you know.
kids get
Bro,
born or
I'm
something.
telling
I don't
you,
know.
I think I would pull that animal out of you. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like.
Like it'd
I
be
don't
like me and
it.
Derek that one night where, oh yeah, let's just go to the bar, let's have like a beer or two, and the next thing you know, a beer or two turns into a shot. Next thing you know, we're having 3 shots. Next thing you know, we're shit faced. You know?
Next thing you
Yeah.
know, you're chain smoking, and that kind of reminded me too. That kind of reminded me too. I remember one time I saw you at like Logie's.
Ah,
I was there at Logie's with some friends,
dude.
and I saw you and Derek there. I guess y'all had just left the wedding, and y'all were just in y'all suits still. And out of everybody there, y'all know who y'all reminded me of? I don't know their exact names, their character names wise, but it's Will Ferrell and some other dude. And the Night at the Roxbury, y'all reminded me of them too. When like that.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Dude,
bro.
I
No, you
swear
didn't.
y'all did.
I mean, you talking mess right now, bro.
No, I'm just saying. I thought it was funny. I thought it was a good time.
We should have started doing it. Just.
Yeah, we should have started doing it.
But that's what y'all reminded me of.
What were we doing? Was it a wedding?
Yeah, that was your cousin Oscar's wedding.
Ah,
Afterwards. I
ah,
don't know why we went. I was tired as hell anyways.
interesting.
We didn't even do nothing. We just stood there, I think.
I don't remember.
But all right, I guess what we don't really have much of a topic. Y'all kind of just want to
I
go
don't
with the
know, I kinda
flow,
do.
or
kinda do.
we ready
Few
to
topics.
we
Yeah,
ready
I
to
think
get
we kinda
into
have a
it?
topic. Yeah,
we ready
yeah,
to
let's-
get into
Yeah,
it?
I'll go ahead and.
We
Yeah.
have an audience. We have some people in here.
Well, it seems like there's
Got
a
3
few.
people in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on?
And, but
Okay.
then also at the same time, this is still a recorded video for confessions anyway,
Something.
for
Yeah.
people to come watch.
Yeah, something
on their
I
own
was
time.
thinking, keep it very as if we're just recording. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Very
Yeah.
similar to the Joe Rogan style.
Just really
Yeah.
quick though, like a little side note. What if someone comments? Could we'll be able to read it,
Yeah. Over here.
and will we respond to it, or will we just kind of like wait?
okay.
And, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I don't
can.
know if we want to keep it like the Joe Rogan style. He goes live and literally no chat, ignores.
Yeah.
But I mean,
That's what
We'll see what works. We'll learn as we go.
Yeah, we'll let this go. This is our first one. It's a change, but I feel like it's a very much needed change and a good change.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think the first thing, and honestly, it could turn into a whole topic, but it's about the death of Charlie Kirk. First off, rest in peace to Charlie Kirk, and
R.I.P.
I think, no pun intended, but it is a turning point in the USA. I think this is one of the moments that we'll look at in the future and say, yeah, that was a pivotal moment in American history that will shape the future. What that future will look like is uncertain, and what it means as of right now, it's too soon to tell exactly what it means for us, what it means for open dialogue, what it means for politics in general, because we all know, we've talked about it before, just how divisive everything is. But I think now more than ever, which it kind of inspired me in a way to be even more vocal than before about what exactly is we're fighting for in the future. I think we've also mentioned this, we're the ones that are pioneering the next generation. I think the biggest problem that we face is weak individuals, particularly men. I think men are very weak. I think there's not enough God in most people's lives, right? But I think that's where we step in, and where we start to have our influence, not just in our lives or our close friends, our close family, but the people that watch us in the communities that we're building. And so I think that's why it's important for us to come out and speak even louder, even more so, not just because, not in fear of someone coming and shooting us for whatever.
Which
we
at
might
this
say.
point it seems very likely the way the state of America is right
the
now.
way that it is right now, right?
Getting shot just because you say something.
Exactly. But I think it's not the American way to cower in the face of fear and to allow the evil that there is to win by silencing us, but for us to rise up even harder and go and be even louder. And they may have silenced Charlie Kirk, but they've done so by igniting the fire in millions of Americans across the country to stand up and create a new Charlie Kirks everywhere, right? I think Charlie Kirk is one of those individuals that's not replaceable, but you can inspire maybe a group of 100 men that could be like Charlie Kirk and create that influence. It may take more people, but I think that's exactly what's happened, and I think that's why this is a turning point in the U.S. because I don't see, if we keep going down this road, it's only going to get worse, and it has gotten worse. I mean, we had the refugee from Ukraine that got stabbed and killed on the train. We had Charlie Kirk's death and a school shooting on the same exact day.
All while having to remember 9/11 at the
All
same
while having
time.
to remember 9/11. And so it's like, and this was just following, I think, the week prior or a few days following the senator of, I forgot which state it was, but her and her husband getting shot up at their home, or I can't remember exactly where, but they got shot up because they were Democrats and they decided to vote Republican, I believe, on something. And so there was more political violence there. So you're talking within a week or 2 weeks, about 4 or 5 acts of violence, mostly due to politics. And I think if we don't stand up for something, it's only going to continue to get worse. And it might get worse before it gets better. And more likely it will. But I think that's why we, as the young men who are going to lead this next generation, who are going to be the foundation and the cornerstone of our country, why we need to stand up for what we believe in and stand up for what's right. And I think that's, at the end of the day, that's why Charlie Kirk was assassinated, was because he stood up for truth, he stood up for Christ, he stood up for what was right. And in a world where lies are what accepted, truth hurts people's feelings. And I think we have too many weak people that don't know how to stomach it, and instead of maybe having an open dialogue, instead of maybe being open to the idea that they're wrong and that their worldview needs some change, they decided to take action in the wrong way, and it led to the death of a man that, at the end of the day, had no crimes. He had no harmful acts on anybody. He never was accused of any indecent acts. Meanwhile, there's plenty of celebrities and people that are free and well and praised, even though they have allegations of child molestation, of sexual assault, murderers, plenty of murderers, rappers walking the streets, but they're still praised. Domestic violence, they're still praised. They talk about all the things that are against God and live that and worship that lifestyle, but they're the ones that are still being praised. I mean, think about all the celebrities that are on the Epstein list, the ones that are known and unknown, that have been named and not named, that are still walking and still being praised to this day, right? Another example that pops up to my mind is Doja Cat, who openly has her satanic worship, whatever, and she's praised by millions, right? Same with all these different types of people, celebrities alike. And yet this man was the one that was gunned down because he spoke up for truth, he spoke up for Christ. And I think it's a direct example of what's preached in the Bible anyways, where it does say that believers will be persecuted because truth in a world full of lies, especially when there's weak people, it'll lead to persecution. That's just what it is.
Right. And when it leads to persecution, we can't be fearful. I've been seeing a lot of Bible verses lately, and one that's sticking out is, and it's pretty common, don't fear if the world hates you, for they hated me first. They hate him, now they're going to hate us because we're only gonna get louder, we're only gonna get stronger, we're only gonna fight more for what's right. All I did was Poco sleeping bear. I seen a meme. It was a lighthearted meme of um, who Charlie Kirk was, and it was like a golden retriever, and it was like the rest of the people who are mourning him, and it's like pitchforks and stuff like that. Like, they're not gonna be as nice as Charlie Kirk was. They're not gonna be as wanting to civil discourse, agree to disagree, debate, use intelligence, use facts, not feelings. And nowadays, I can relate to that because I've been called mean 3-4 times within this past month. And, they might be sensitive. I might be a little bit more harsh, but I'm just saying what I feel. I'm just saying facts. I'm saying, like, a quick example would be this girl I was with, these friends, right? And she was talking about her boyfriend, and she was like, I want a man's opinion. And I told her, and long story short, I was like, your man is a POS. And apparently that made her sad. That made her mad. You don't know my man. You don't this and that. And I was like, well, why ask me then? She's like, you're mean. I'm like, you asked me for my opinion. I told you straight up. What, you want me to tell you that stay with him even though he gets drunk and beats you? Even though he starts calling you names, even though he cheats on you? You want me to tell him or tell you to stay with him? No, I'm going to tell you, like, nah, that's not a good guy. It's a red flag. And this is a little bit exaggerated, but that's pretty much the whole story. And they called me mean for that. Another time too, I got roommates. They're in their mid-20s, early 20s, 19, 20, and they call me Unk. And, that's the new terminology these days for the young cats. And I feel like, personally, I don't feel like I'm Unk because I'm more responsible. I'm more mature. I'm like, hey, like, y'all clean this up. I'm not your mom, like, this and that. Because I have a setup with 3 remotes. One of those remotes was lost, and I took the other 2 remotes and I hid it. And I was like, if y'all don't find this remote, nobody's watching TV except me. And that might be mean, but I'm not their mom, because what if I'm like, okay, y'all lost the remote, let me find it. Moving forward, they're going to lose it again and expect me to find it. No, they ended up finding it. They were too lazy to look for it. But once they found it, I gave them the remotes back. Some people might see that as mean. Some people might see that as like too much. But it's like, nah, I'm not your dad. I'm doing me. You do you. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not here to take you with me. I'm here to do what I got to do and get out. Your mom might clean up for you, whatever, but I'm not. And y'all should understand that. But aside from all that, they call me mean. Like, I've never been called mean before, just because I'm speaking my mind, not sugarcoating anything, using facts. And now, even more so with the death of Charlie Kirk, makes me even more vocal, more like, all right, hey, I'm backing up with facts. No more facts over feelings. And it's crazy because people say, oh, you're supporting a bad guy, you're supporting a fascist, a neo-Nazi, and half of them don't even know what those words mean. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you're saying, if you're calling Charlie Kirk a fascist, a neo-Nazi, but what is that really? And you look back, the last attempt, or not even attempt, assassination was JFK. JFK at the time was a Democrat. People think he's a Republican, but he was a Democrat. And I think back, do you think JFK would have agreed with what the Democrats are pushing today? I feel like there was a line. There was a midpoint, and there was, like, the extremes, but they weren't that far. And I feel like that middle line has never moved, but the Democratic line has just been. And now all of a sudden, we're still right here. We never moved, but there's, like, it becomes more extreme, so they're calling us these names, racist, fascist, homophobic, transphobic, and it's like, I never moved my stance. I stayed in one spot. Y'all are the one taking, and getting away with it because nobody ever spoke up except, people like Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, Trump. Those were the only few people that would still speak up. The rest of us were kind of silent. But it's now they woke up that sleeping bear, and now people are going to voice it more. But it's kind of crazy. In spite of all this, in a sense, it's a civil war. People are going to shoot at each other for differing opinions. People are going to yell violent, threatening words at each other for standing up what they believe in. People are going to get canceled. People are losing their jobs. Families are becoming, ripped apart. And it takes me back to, I remember one thing Ragu said a long time ago. It's no longer a war between left and right. It's a war between good and evil. And I think what happened this past 2 weeks, it's now or never, you got to take your stance. You might have been flying under the radar, being quiet, but now more than ever, you have to pick a side, good or evil, and what are you going to stand for, and what are you going to do? And recently, too, what I've done, it took me forever, but it was about time I did it. I've cleared my social media. People who I knew in high school, back in the volleyball days, back in the Baylor days, the Tinder days, people that I had on there still that I no longer talk to, don't even know their name, don't even know what they're doing, don't even. So why would I care about their political views or views in general or what they're doing or what they think of me, or they don't even need to see what I'm doing, because those who are there in your life at this moment are the ones that are supposed to be there, and that's gonna be that way moving forward. And it might suck, like, dang, I knew this guy since middle school, like we played a lot of volleyball together, we played baseball together. Having to hit the block button or move button for your own peace and for your own safety and for your family, it's worth it at the end of the day, because who I have right now is who I need, and who I'm gonna take with me to the top. Whether I get shot down, whether whatever happens to me, I know who I'm taking with me at this point.
Basically, if I'm dying, y'all are dying.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like, okay, if this ship goes down, we're all going down. But if we go to the moon, I'm taking everybody with me that's, locked and loaded, ready to go, packed up.
Man, my opinion on everything, just, with everything going on, I just straight up think, man, we need God more than ever. About the Charlie Kirk situation, I can't say I supported him. I can't say I disagreed with him because I really don't know him too much. But overall, I believe no one should go out that way. I think whoever shot him, and I can't even say allegedly they caught the guy, right? But you don't know if it was him, honestly. You don't. And
It's crazy real quick because, like, we can all put on our tinfoil hats and say, oh, there's a lot more to it. Maybe he was speaking too much. Maybe the whole crisis with Israel and Palestine and all that has the higher ups, the multi-millionaires. Maybe they're the ones planned it. Maybe it was something like that. Maybe it was a conspiracy. Maybe it was a hit by higher powers, because at the time too they were trying to vote on whether or not to release the Epstein files. And I think once those are released, neither side wins. Because I think everybody's on there. Red or blue, celebrity, politician. I think a lot of people are on there, and that's like nobody's going to win.
But back to what I was saying, man. Overall, prayers for Charlie Kirk's family, kind of sucks. It does suck, and, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. No one should go out that way. Like I was saying, I think we need God more than ever with everything that's popping off, not only here in the States, but across the world. And exactly how I said months before, I think we are already at war between good and evil. And I think it's just showing more. And very similar to how Jerome said, you got to pick and choose your side, and as of right now, my opinion on a lot of people, I think they're very ignorant. I think they're very arrogant and, in general, just idiotic. Not being able to take a look at the bigger picture of what's actually going on. And after seeing a lot of things go off, I don't really lean towards Democratic, Republican. I stay out of politics now. Like I said, I lean more towards the good side. I'm like, God's the only way. God's the only way. And I genuinely believe that, just because after seeing so much, it's all a show. You know what I'm saying? I think both sides have puppets. Both sides are being controlled. I think it's overall globalists that are running the world. There's people behind the closed doors that are running the world, causing a lot of this to pop off. Do I know the reasons? No. Do I know the reason why Charlie Kirk was assassinated? No. I think it's bigger than political views. I think it goes way deeper than that. I think it could potentially be a distraction. Then that raises the question, a distraction from what? And I believe that they're stirring up the pot. They're stirring up the pot. Why are they stirring up the pot? To distract us. To distract us from what? What's going on? What's next? And I'm not going to say that this is going to happen or that's going to happen, but, is there going to be a civil war? Is there going to be a revolution? Or are we just going to continue on with life and do nothing about it? I don't know. I don't know. So overall, like I said, I think we need God more than ever as of right now. And to pick and choose a side, I stand firm in my beliefs. You know, I don't wish death upon anyone except rapists, child molesters, all that stuff, of course. Fuck those people. Excuse me. But it's a weird time that we're in. That's how I see it. It's a weird time, a lot of questions, and I think exactly how these two gentlemen are saying, we need to use our voices to stand up and stand firm in what we believe in, and what we believe in is God's way, for me at least. I think I can say that for all of us. I think that's the only way, and I think we need to stay strong in our beliefs, in our faith, and don't cower away. Stand strong. You know, with God by your side, you can't lose. You can't. And what's next? I don't know. That's the question that rises for me. What's next? What's going to happen? And the only thing, and like, what overall, what is the solution? And the only solution I have is turn to God. That's the only thing. Because, I mean, is civil war a solution? Is revolution a solution? You know, is more murder? Like, what's going to happen next? And I'm stumped. You know, I think oftentimes I do have an answer for a lot of things, but the only thing I can think of is just turn to God. That's all I can think of. And, you know, I don't want to pay too much focus on other people's opinions, especially the ignorant, especially the arrogant. As of right now, my mission stays the same on focusing me, trying to build my life, because I believe the more I build, the more formidable I become, the more influential I will become, and I will be able to have some sort of a bigger impact than I already do on... Uh-oh. That was a very close one. The more I grow, I believe that I will potentially have a bigger impact on the people around me and the people, the audience that follow us. So all I can do is just pray to God, lead by example, lead by action, and remain stoic.
I agree, and I want to ask y'all, do y'all think the older generation has failed us because of where we're at now? And I think the reason I say that is because I do believe that because we are the men of the future, and the men are the ones that, we're the foundation of every nation. We built this nation, right? And having fathers in households we're like the police of the world naturally. We discipline our children to make them into good people that have self-control, right? And right now, we're seeing the complete opposite of that. People don't have self-control. People have hatred. And I think it all does start at the household, because we're all born no ideals. We're not born with religion. We're not born with any of that. We're born just a clean slate almost, right? And as we grow up, our environment kind of helps dictate who we are going to be. I think partially, and then of course there's the personality that God instilled in us, right? But I think a lot of it has to do with the environment that we grew up in. And so the way that I see it is, I think we're going to be the ones that are dictating how we raise the next generation, right? So would you say that the generations before us, they're the ones that have failed us and led us here?
I say no. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole with conspiracies and this and that, but very similar to what Derek said. The people you surround yourself with you'll end up turning out to be like them, of course. And the people and who you look to as influence impacts your life as well. I'm trying to say this without being so conspiracy theorist, but
Putting on the tinfoil hat.
okay, but yeah, I don't want to go.
Tinfoil
I
hats
don't
on,
want to
go
go
ahead.
too.
Go deep.
I don't
Go
want to
deep.
go too deep
Go
into
deep.
the
Get
rabbit
it.
hole.
Go
but
super.
Go deep. Okay,
Go deep,
We're
bro.
going deep. We're going deep. Okay. We can go. We can go a little bit deeper. All right. So think about it today, because it's unrevealing, or it's revealing more and more and more today. Especially with people being ignorant, people being arrogant, right? People selecting a certain side, or whether you're left or right. Who's influencing those people? The media. The media. Whether it's social media, this little phone that you have that everyone has in their pockets, or TV, traditional media, commercials, stuff like that, right? So you go back. Let's go back to the good old days, to older generations. Who was their influence? The news, right? And we can argue that, man, it wasn't as bad as it was today, right? Whoop-de-whoop. But what if it was? What if the people back in the day, the older generations, were influenced as well? Influenced to believe a certain thing. And I'm just asking questions. I'm not saying they were. I'm not saying they weren't. But what if they were influenced to believe a certain thing? To believe that, hey, this is right and this is wrong. Hey, you should raise your kids to believe in this. Or, hey, you should raise your kids to believe in that. Hey, you should believe in this. You should believe in that. What if a lot of the stories that we've been told, that our country is the greatest, we are the victors? Because at the end of the day, the victors, they're the ones that write the history. So let's ask that question. And it can go way deeper. It can go way bigger, right? Oh, let's go win this war. Let's go do this. Send these people over here to fight this battle, that battle. We're doing the right thing. We got to go stand against these bad people. Well, who are they to say that they're bad people? And and what if we're not bad people?
I think.
What if is it possible for the United States to be wrong at one point? And then what if? Because like I said, it's starting to reveal itself more and more today. And I know we're going down this rabbit hole. And maybe some people will understand, maybe some people won't. But I think it gets bigger than countries. I think it gets bigger than this side, the Democrats and the Republicans. I think it's way bigger than that. What if there's people behind closed doors, aka globalists, that run the world and influence people to believe a certain thing, or to go do a certain thing, or to that are so powerful to influence a country to go fight another country? What if? And what if at one time there was countries that were open to this, or there were countries that were aware of this happening, and they tried to stop it, but they failed? And what if history painted those people that fought against the status quo, that fought against the globalists? What if the globalists painted those people as bad people? It's a tricky question. And to go back to what you were asking, did the older generation fail us? I can't put the blame on them. Because I think just like how we are today, they're ignorant. Maybe some of them were arrogant. Maybe some of them knew what was going on and didn't have the power to change something. Maybe some of those people did fight back, but failed. So I think it goes way deeper than just the older generation. And overall, like I said, I think we need to turn back to God, follow in Jesus, and the Bible, man. I believe that the Bible is starting to show more and more truth and prove itself. It's more and more correct as time goes, because I believe that we are starting to see everything that the Bible prophesied or even stated to us reveal itself more and more as we go along this timeline. So I'm just a guy simply asking questions. I'm just a guy simply asking questions.
Okay, so I'm gonna try and answer both at the same time. Right? I believe it is very important to stay educated, to know your history. At the very minimum, school is not for everybody, but at the very minimum, know your history, not just the history of your country, but the history of the world. Know your history, know your politics, whether you agree or disagree with someone. There's a lot more to it. The U.S. Constitution as a whole. Look at your state constitution, your local constitutions. You know, look at the Bill of Rights. Look at your basic human rights. Those, are in the Constitution as well. Just having those basic life skills. Even if something is like math. Turn on your mic. Is it on? Has it been off this whole time?
It's off right now. I just noticed it.
Oh my gosh!
But no.
Jeremy,
It probably was off like
locked
that.
in.
I don't know why I keep fiddling with it, but.
Yeah, because I saw it whenever you were talking, and I just noticed it. Yeah.
But to sum up what I just said, I feel like it's important to know history about your country and within the world, your politics, your constitution, your state constitution, your
Fucking
local
Jerome.
government, all of that. I feel like it's important to know math, not even complex math, numbers math, financial math, because everything is numbers. Your social security, your address, your bank routing number, your phone number, your everything is numbers. I feel like if you educated enough or know a little bit about numbers, it'll help you in life in general, how to spend your hard-earned money, how to make your money, make money for you, knowing your politics so you don't look like a sheep, you don't look like a fool, knowing your history so you can back up your beliefs and your politics with facts and resources.
Do you
And
mind if I ask you a question real quick? I don't mean to cut you off.
go ahead.
Because I completely agree. You need to know your knowledge, right?
Right.
Kind of back to what I said, right? The victors always rewrite history, right? The way they want them. What if what we were taught, for example, history, have you ever questioned it? Like, I'm not saying it's wrong, right or wrong, but have you ever questioned it and wonder, hey, are they telling us the truth?
Oh, for sure. We can go back to the Mexican-American War when the Alamo, the United States said that Mexico was invading and Mexico was like, no, that's ours. But you're right. Whoever wins gets to tell history. And at that point, what can you do about it? You can't go back and change history. We don't have technology for time travel, for time machines. You kind of got to accept it. But if you do question it, that's healthy. Question everything. Don't just say yes to everything you're told. That's one thing my dad taught me. Question. I mean, I've even questioned religion. I've even questioned if I want to be Catholic or Christian, and I've mentioned that before. At this point, I've had a fire lit under me where I want to be educated. I want to be well versed in my vocabulary. I want to be a man of example. Just watching clips of Charlie Kirk, it's like, okay, some stuff he said might not have been digestible for everybody, but some stuff, okay, it's like, okay, I can see that. And moving forward, I want to use my knowledge. God gave me a great brain, a brain that people would kill to have, and I want to use it, and I want to use it for good. So, to answer Derek's question, do I think the older generation failed us? How far back do we go? Like, do I think about my dad's generation? Do I think about my grandparents' generation?
Think about all of it.
All of it? I would say no, because they had the blueprint of like, hey, don't let this happen, because as soon as this happens, you're going to be a house divided. Abraham Lincoln, I think, said, a country divided within itself will not stand, and that's where we are. And I agree, history repeats itself. We might have another civil war. It might be a they versus them, a red versus blue, whatever. But if I'm going to be personal, I think about older generation, I think about my grandparents and my dad and my mom. I don't think they failed me, because the way I turned out, if they would have failed me, I would have been in prison. I would be dead, be a single dad. I, wouldn't be trying to become educated. I wouldn't be trying to learn, trying to make money, trying to make something of myself. I feel like they prepared me as best they could, despite what they were going through. Because if you think about big picture, we have it easy compared to them. You know, I would hate to be back in the old days and have a headache and a doctor comes and drills a hole in my head thinking that it's going to work, you know? Nowadays, we can go to a doctor, although we might have to pay $20 million, they can say, hey, just take over the counter. But, you know.
They used to lobotomize people.
Yeah,
with
they used
mental
to,
illness,
you know,
which is crazy to think about. It's crazy.
back then, war too. 18 years old, fresh out of high school, going to fight wars, getting
he
shot
broke his
at.
toe, chop off
You
his
know,
foot.
exactly. You got the flu. Oh dang, he's a witch.
Bro,
You know?
imagine you're born, turn 18, World War One, they come back home, Great Depression, and go into World War Two. Like, bro, there's a period of like 40 years of just like one thing after the other.
I mean, we could even go back to 1492 when Columbus saw the ocean blue type of thing. And you know, racism was even apparent there. They said, oh, Christopher Columbus was a white Spaniard who killed, you know, Vikings and Native Americans. You know, it's been forever, and I don't think it'll ever go away. But it's kind of like, pick your side, you know, do your research, pick your knowledge, and then if someone disagrees with you, talk to them about it. Don't shoot them. But I don't think they necessarily failed us. Maybe economically they did, because now, oh man, I'll give them that. Economically they screwed us. But as far as like morals and, you know, growth and how to be a good person, I don't think because back then they, you know, believed in spanking and timeouts and, you know, that type of stuff. Now it's gentle parenting, trying to talk to your kid like, you know, if they're I didn't
He
hear
knew
it.
what I was thinking. I think he knew what I was thinking.
But okay, I think, you know, we'll just say what y'all gonna say. We'll go with it because I'm probably thinking the same thing.
I don't believe in gentle parenting.
But it's like,
Wait.
in a sense, I don't think they're failing us.
About the same thing.
I don't know if we're thinking about the same thing.
I don't know.
But I don't think the older generations failed us. I think they helped us as best they could with the resources they had and the limited technology they had. I think what failed us is Raul kind of took the thought from my head is the phones. Social media is a different monster. Because I was getting a haircut at Tony's barbershop back in Plainview for my birthday. I went to go see my mom and parents and everything. And it was like an old school barbershop. You know, they didn't have the ring lights and the black gloves and charging you $40, $50. It was men coming after work to get a quick cut, bringing their, you know, grandkids or their sons after school before practice to get a quick cut, $20, $30 cut. And we were talking, you know, it was like, dang, old school, with a good vibe. And just being there made me realize, like, dang, we started talking about, dang, I never broke anything growing up, but I did have stitches. And then his older brother was like, dang, I broke my collarbone in 3 spots and I still played. And I didn't even know it was broken until the next week. Like, those were the good times when we looked up from our phones and we went outside. And it's crazy. I'm talking like I am an unk. I'm talking like I am old. But this was merely about, at most, 10 years ago. Because I just turned 24. 14. I'm a teenager and barely getting to high school, playing sports, doing band, learning. It doesn't even seem that long ago, but now, like, as fast as we're growing, as more mature as we're coming, it seems like it's forever ago.
It's crazy to see how quickly the world can
change.
evolve and change in such a short period of time.
And to answer your question, what was like a specific? If you could like narrow your question down into like a sentence or two, what would it be? Because it was kind of like, should I take off my tinfoil hat or leave it on? You know, what was the question though? Yeah,
Mine?
if you could like, yeah,
I asked
yeah.
a lot of questions, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. If you
I
could
think my
narrow
whole
it down
point
to
was
like
just
one
questions.
sentence or two.
Bro didn't make a statement.
To narrow it down to 1 or 2 questions, I think it
Or like a
would
sentence
be-
or two.
Because it was connected to Derazy's question. His question was, do you think the older generation failed us? And I said, to answer his question, I said no. What do you think whoever was influencing them... Do you think whoever was influencing them had control over everything? Does that make sense?
That makes a little sense, yeah.
Like
I-
basically did that to 2 questions. Do you think whoever was influencing them did it purposefully, which led the older generation to believe in what they believed in? Do you think that's true or false?
Real quick, Diamond M Livestock said, "Hi boys, miss you, Jeremiah."
Who said that?
Diamond M
Oh.
Livestock. I don't know who that is.
Oh, hi. I don't know if I know them.
Oh, hi.
It's familiar, but I mean, I would say, yeah, I think every period of history, every generation has had higher ups influence them, and it might just be the winners of the war. Or they could, we could take off our tinfoil hats and go as simple as like when our founding fathers wrote the Constitution, following these 5 basic steps, and they've just carried it on until these phones came, and now it's like we're getting
Ooh, I
ideas
have a
from
good
everywhere.
question. I have a good question for the both of y'all. Do you think we've strayed away from the founding fathers' beliefs,
Oh, for
aka the Constitution? Do you think we strayed away from it?
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
have,
for sure.
especially with the two-party system.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they never wanted a two-party system,
They never
And-
wanted us to be so divisive.
and they didn't even want to. George Washington didn't even want to be a president. Like they forced him pretty much to be president. I think what's been the biggest problem. The way that the world continues to evolve, right? People still think that, or people think that the Constitution should evolve as well because the world is different than it was back then. And we keep adding to the Constitution and amending it. But there's a lot of things that the Constitution doesn't even talk about that we talk about now. Like the interpretation of the Second Amendment, right, is one thing that's very highly discussed. Another thing that people talk about is the idea, I'm trying to remember specifically, that we're a democracy, right? We're not a democracy. That's one thing that the Constitution never mentions, because we're not democratic. We're a constitutional republic. So there's things that are highly debated in the Constitution because how times have evolved, and I think it's more so. It's hard because you're talking about, and the funny thing too is that you would think we're so old. We're one of the youngest nations in the world. We're still a baby in comparison to the rest.
Exactly.
Right? Like the oldest businesses are like 1914. You go to London and the oldest one is like 1682 or something like that. You know, so like we're still a newborn in the rest of the world. And one of the things that is the most popular thing that we have is freedom of speech, which is still pretty radical in the new age. Right, we're still one of the very few countries that has freedom of speech, true freedom of speech. So it's still hard to tell with how much has it changed, because if you look at the timeline of the world and the timeline of like the modern age, right after the what is it called, the agricultural revolution or whatever, right. You look at that timeline, we're still young, 1776, bro.
Yeah, that's
It's
crazy.
still so soon. I mean, how many generations are we talking? Right? How many? Maybe 5, 6 generations, maybe more, but not that long. So the time removed from the moment of the Constitution till now isn't that long when you really think about it. So those times have changed so dramatically.
It's
I don't know.
What is Dubai? Like, what is Dubai? Like that area?
Dubai?
Yeah,
It's in
they're.
UAE.
But like,
Middle
what are they?
Eastern?
Like, we're democracy, whatever. But would
They
they be a
have
tier?
kings. They're
They have
kings.
kings,
They
right?
have
So what
kings.
would that be?
A monarchy.
Parliamentary? Isn't that kind of like the United Kingdom? They do a monarch.
UK has a prime minister.
Who's the one with the king and queen and the prince and Prince Charles and all that? Queen Elizabeth. Is that the same thing?
I think that's a monarchy.
Okay.
So would Dubai be considered a monarchy, or
I
like
think
the
so.
UAE?
You know what?
I mean, we could look this up on our phones, but we're trying to be raw right now.
Right.
That's
Zach.
something I'm uneducated
So,
on.
Zach.
So
I'll be
to-
honest.
To lead to my question, because I think of freedom of speech, right? They don't over there in like the UAE/Dubai, right? They don't necessarily have that. They don't necessarily have like the freedom of speech, like the democratic freedoms that we enjoy here. So which one would you say would you lean towards? Would you lean towards more of a
Federal presidential semi-constitutional monarchy.
So would
Yeah,
you
I don't think a
lean-
lot of people
we'll
know
just
that.
Simplify it to monarchy. Would you lean towards a monarchy to where we're more stricter, or would you lean towards democracy, what we
Yes,
have
they have
quote
to.
unquote nowadays? Because when you think about it, when you compare the two countries, like morally, which one looks a whole lot better?
Depends on what lens you're looking at. I mean,
Yeah.
the UAE, or if you just consider Middle Eastern culture, and which is also highly influenced by religion, right? The rights that people have are very restricted because they don't want to go against the religion. especially whenever you have monarchs who have certain ideals, right? They want to maintain those, and at the same time, they want to maintain power. So they limit the type of congressional power or any power that anyone else could have that could overthrow their influence. And at the same time, they still want to align with their religious ideologies. So, for example, with limitations on women's rights and limitations on what people can do and enjoy in the given country, right? So it's just very, very different. And this is just a side note, a very quick side note. And I know this is probably be a little controversial, but just as a side note, a lot of people say free Palestine, right? And I think what's interesting about that, I'm not saying they're right or wrong for that. I'm not trying to say, but what I'm saying is that people will say free Palestine, and yet at the same time, the people that they are trying to support in Palestine would not like or very strongly disagree with the lifestyle choices that they make, because being gay is illegal, right? Women are still persecuted. You don't have freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of religion, you know? So, like, there's a lot of things that people are willing to support in other countries that would go against their own ideals. Like, for example, I'm supporting someone from Palestine, right? And they were to come to my house, they probably very strongly dislike or discourage, or not even discourage. Come on, bro.
I'm trying to see the comments because they're going crazy.
They,
No, yeah,
they
he just asked a
probably-
question, but we'll,
They probably actually come in and ridicule us and, how would I say it, talk down to us because of our lifestyle choices. But yet we're so willingly and open to support people that fundamentally we probably disagree on more things than not. I just thought that's just a little side
No,
note.
it's. I can agree with that. I mean, damn, you got me so worked up. I stuttered like 3 times right there. But I'm saying it's like, okay, we have our country, and other countries have their problems. Our country has our own problems. It's like, okay, and I'll do a little car analogy. Our tire's flat, but someone is stranded on the side of the road. We're trying to help them before we fix our flat tires. That's how I kind of see it. We're making other people's
100%.
problems our problems. We have our own problems to work on. We have to fix our tires. We have to make sure our motor's running. We have to make sure we have gas. Their car's broken down. Yeah, they're looking for help. But how can we help someone when we can't even help ourselves first? So it's like, okay, you're saying this and that, you're against this, you're saying you have your beliefs on free Palestine, whatever. Sometimes I'm like, you know what, I'll do the hard part for you. I'll do research and I'll send you links to donate to Palestine. How much have you donated? You know, I'll send you, links to send resources, clothes, whatever. Matter of fact, I'll help you look for a flight first thing in the morning so you can go and protest and hold up your signs and see what happens then. You know, you're doing good over here, but go do it over there. That's just, this like, we'll see a big difference. And I'm not, people are like, oh, you're this and this. Is, you know what? I'm prepared for it. You can call me this. You can call me that. You can meme me if I die. At this point, we're so desensitized. It's like, what can they do that you haven't seen already? You know what I mean? We've seen people beheaded, set on fire, shot in the neck, made fun of it, stabbed 5 times on a subway. It's like, what can they do to me that's gonna like, oh shoot, that's evil. We've already seen all types of evil. Okay, I die, they meme me, start making me into memes. It's like, okay, whatever, I've seen it. I probably would make a meme myself. So it's like, whatever, at this point. And it's just crazy because we're so focused on other people's problems instead of our own. At the end of the day.
So would you say, back to asking the same question basically, so would you say, should we start leaning towards that monarchy style, similar to the UAE over there? Because you made that point where power, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their power aligns with their religion. And overall, I mean, what do we need more of right now?
Well, here's the thing. Those things don't really work. At least it hasn't, right? Because you still look at over there in Dubai, right? They say it's beautiful, extravagant, but they say it's also the most soulless city in the world. There are people that don't have souls. You look in people's eyes, and there's nothing there behind the person, because it's all for show. There's no real.
Who says that?
People that from word I've heard it from, just any voices, like conservative voices that I've heard from that actually go to Dubai, or I've been to Dubai, and it's very much just for money, for show. No actual heart behind it. That's kind of what it is over there. And so, and then if we look at the past, at how societies have been run with kings before, it's like at some point they become corrupt, because what king wants to let go of power? And if it's not there, maybe it's not him, right? Maybe it's 3 generations down. Maybe it's his grandchild, right? Now he's the one that's corrupt. So like, that's the only problem about having a king or queen. You have to rely on them and their lineage to maintain what you like, what you believe in, the morals and the values that you hold as a citizen of their country. You have to have complete and total faith in these people to maintain that for however long time goes, and hope that they don't get influenced by money or power, anything like that, right? I think you can't trust people. You can trust God, but you can't trust people. And so I think that's what's difficult. Is there any governmental structure that can actually work at the end of the day? Any communist, Marxist, democratic, constitutional republic, monarchy, parliamentary? Is there any one that can actually work? It's hard to say. And maybe they can work for a certain amount of time, but can they work sustained period of time, forever? Because every kingdom has fallen. Every kingdom in the history of the world has fallen. We're right now in that kind of period of like, where are we going to go?
Yeah,
But every kingdom has fallen.
I was going to say, too, to answer your question, I think what we have going on is okay. I'm fine with it. I'd much rather have the democracy over the monarchy, because at least the people, quote, we think the people can vote and put whoever we want into office. We can look at people with their different views and beliefs and ideas. Whereas, like, in a monarchy, kind of, I mean, I don't want to compare it to a dictatorship or authority, but authoritarian. But
just tripping over stuff today, bro. God damn.
That
hurt me. That would hurt me.
Check. We good? We good?
Are we good, chat?
Yeah. Oh, it's Zach. All right. What's up, Zach? What's going on, man? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for engaging. We caught your question. We'll get to it here in a little bit. And then as far as your friend from Dubai, yeah, people really don't see how great they have it here. I even saw a quote from Charlie Kirk. I'm going to get to your question like this. I saw a quote from Charlie Kirk saying, America is the only country where people hate it but refuse to leave.
That one hurt me. Hold on.
You know?
I know. Look at
And I have a question for you. I know you've been playing devil's advocate, but I got a question for you. Okay, do you know what fascism is?
No, explain it to me.
Do you know what neo-Nazi is?
Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Okay, fascism. You know who Hitler is, right?
Yeah.
That he was a fascist. People are comparing Charlie Kirk to Hitler.
You didn't answer the question. You just gave an example.
The question was, though, do you agree or disagree that Charlie Kirk was a fascist?
No, if he was a terrible
I don't
fascist.
think he was.
Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate, right?
Okay.
Hitler did a genocide, the Holocaust, killed millions of Jews simply because they weren't white, blonde, with blue eyes, and didn't speak German.
I don't want to talk about.
No,
because
I've answered your question.
I have a tinfoil on that shit.
I've answered your questions. You got to answer this
Well,
one.
I have a lot of questions on that.
And then,
But go ahead.
you know, you got
I'm
that.
prepared.
Look at Charlie Kirk, you know. He
Yeah.
believes Christianity, you know, these certain ideas. Although they're not as extreme, he's not killing people just because they're different. He has these ideas where, like, hey, this is the perfect type of lifestyle. This is what you need to lean towards. He's being biblical and he's following God, you know. But people are comparing that to Hitler because he wants one type of group of people, I guess you could say.
No.
So in a sense,
Here's no. Because textbook definition of fascism. It's like a very authoritarian type of government. Like you suppress people, so you don't give them the opportunity to talk. You don't give the people all the opportunity to have open dialogue.
Okay.
You
Kinda like
assassinate
Hitler
them,
did.
right? You want full control over everything, the economy, the books, the education, everything. You want complete control over that. You definitely don't preach about freedom and rights. There's no rights in fascism.
It's my way or the highway.
It's dictatorship
Okay.
almost. It's
So-
that type of way.
Ask your question.
do you think? Okay, Why would you say Charlie Kirk is not a fascist?
For all the reasons that I listed.
But I was a question for him,
Oh,
though.
for
So.
Ragu?
Wait, you said what?
Why do you believe Charlie Kirk isn't a fascist?
Isn't a fascist?
Yeah.
So
Or if you do, why?
So based off what the technical definition is, he doesn't fall into that category. So I don't believe he's a fascist.
That's fair. I'll take that. I mean,
It's that simple
He
of a
doesn't-
question.
Yeah, he
But
doesn't
it's
match the
like,
definition.
Let me ask
Just
this.
terms like that are just thrown around.
it's
now.
crazy,
They're
right?
Just thrown around
and
like nothing.
I said fascist, and everybody was like, "What the heck?"
And
Like,
real
boom,
quick,
you know,
real quick,
you know.
on that note, before you go, I think what's ironic is that people are trying to talk against political violence, right? But at the same time, it is those words specifically, that rhetoric. Because when you hear fascism, you think of someone like Hitler. You hear someone that's racist, homophobic, xenophobic, all those things, right? All those things. That type of language, that type of rhetoric is what influences people to think, okay, if he is those things, then he deserves to die. We throw around those terms so loosely and label people things, and these people over here who are weak-minded, who are easily influenced, who are probably mentally ill, take those words and say, oh, that means they're the enemy. We need to kill all people that are like that. And it starts with someone like Charlie Kirk, right? Because I mean, apparently the casings on the bullets, right? One of it was inscribed
I saw that.
was fascist. He
That's
was
what it
he
said?
was a fascist.
Mm.
There's a few things that it said was like "Ciao, ciao, bella, ciao, ciao, ciao," which was I forgot.
Ciao, Bella, ciao, Bella.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember seeing that
because
as well.
That's
I've heard of that. What is that?
God, I forgot what country it was. They were opposing the government, and that's what they used. That was something that they said.
Sounds Italian.
It might have been. It might have been Italian.
Might have been, yeah, Italian. I think
there was-
maybe Italian.
There was that. I mean, there was
That sounds familiar.
but that's the point that I'm trying to make is that one of the bullets said that he was a fascist, right? And so it's like using that type of word to describe someone used to be something that you could see as like, oh, well, that's a very strong opinion to have of someone. But we've been so desensitized to it now. Everyone that is labeled a fascist or racist or whatever, right? A bigot.
Mhm.
And that type of language, look what it did. It influenced someone to come out here and shoot up this man, to kill this man, right? In front of everybody, in front of his kids and wife. And yet that language is still being thrown around to describe him by people who are on the left that say he was a bad person. They disagree with him because he's a fascist, he's a racist. People that are saying he doesn't deserve empathy. People that are celebrating his death are saying that it's because he was all these things, right? Whether or not it's true or not, and of course, in my opinion, I don't believe it's true. If he was racist, he was terrible at being racist. He employed black people. He was friends with black people. It was a terrible way of being a racist if he was racist. If he was homophobic, gay people around him all the time. Very bad at being homophobic.
That's what I was
If he
going to
a
say,
fascist,
too.
He was very bad at being fascist because he openly supported and promoted dialogue and ideas being shared between people who disagreed with him. That's not fascism.
See,
So like, there's all these things that people labeled him. I would say outright he wasn't, just by definitions.
see, I think a lot of people, what they need to do is do what I just did. People were calling this guy a fascist, right? What did I do? I asked the question, what's fascism?
Yes.
What is it?
Civil discourse.
I got the actual definition of what it is, and then I was asked, hey, is this person a fascist? And based off the definition, based off what I know, taking my knowledge, I came to a conclusion that no, he's not a fascist. He's not the father. But I think overall we should turn to that kind of monarchy to where we have a king, and we should have full faith, full confidence, and full trust in that person, in him. And who should I elect? The King of all kings, Jesus Christ. I think we should turn to God.
Okay, I see
people.
where you're
Turn
going
to-
with that. You had me
turn to
scared
God
for a
people,
minute.
bro. Turn to God, people. No, like truly.
Yeah, I
truly,
get it.
Like, and when you genuinely think about it, Derek kind of touched base on this earlier. The whole world is ran by governments. There's some sort of authority in each country. in each country, whether they were elected, whether they took it, whether they achieved it, however they got it, right? There's some sort of authority. And this makes me think of our founding fathers. What'd they say? What's on a crisp dollar bill? In God we trust. Maybe these people knew something that we didn't. Maybe that's why they wrote out the Constitution to be similar to what to faith, to God, you know? Hey, follow these. This is the way, you know? God's the way. And like I said, I think overall society, especially all around the world, has strayed away from it. And boom, there's our answer. There's our solution. I think we just all need to turn to God.
For sure.
I think here's the problem though. That's not gonna go over.
Exactly.
And then
It's not
plus,
gonna go over.
with other people's religions,
That's gonna be war.
We
That's
wish
civil
it was
war.
that easy, right?
wish.
That's civil war right there. Because freedom of religion is one of the foundations of this country, right? And I think that's what helps make us better than a lot of other countries is that we have that freedom of speech. And so, while we say we'll turn towards God, some people are either they have a different God or they don't serve any God.
And when you think about it, the people that do, for example, we're Christian, we're Catholic, right? When you think about it overall, as well as Muslims or I don't know what other gods there are, Buddha and all that.
yeah.
There's a lot,
There's a
actually.
lot of
When you
Yeah.
think about it, like all religions, I can't say all because I don't know, of course, but the ones that I do know, they overall are morally good. You know,
Some. Some.
a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
them.
a
I
whole
can't-
nother
that's why- that's
can
why-
of worms.
That's why I'm
No,
not,
not
that's why
really.
I'm not saying all of them,
Yeah.
but a lot of them, like the ones that I know at least,
Mhm.
are like they're morally good. Maybe not on certain topics. Maybe some are more extreme than others. But like overall, there's right and wrong.
Yeah, there's right and wrong, but when you get into religions, like if you want to talk about, for example, like with Islam, with how they treat people, like in which this is a whole nother rabbit hole. Dog.
Yeah, this is a whole
It's a
nother
whole nother rabbit
topic
hole,
type
but,
of thing,
the
too.
persecution of Christians
My
within
tinfoil hat.
within Islam communities, right? That they should be put to death. Women don't have any sort of rights. Men, boys should be pretty much turned into extremists to defend only that religion and that religion only. If not, you deserve death. So like, there's certain things within certain religions that's what makes Christianity so great, right? Because of what Christianity is and why it's so different, and the path to salvation isn't even you; it's Jesus Christ. And a lot of other religions, you have to go out there and try to earn it, right? There's some sort of other thing, and it's a whole
Yeah.
the whole thing.
I would say-
I think there are
some of them.
I think
Some
there
of them,
are
at least.
I think there is a hierarchy of religions, and I say Christianity is on top.
I would say too that it goes back to just worrying about our country and ourselves first before we start getting into other people's business, and then including religion. Because also too, I've even had the thought: is religion a man-made thing? Is it a man-made concept? Because at the end of the day, there's only one true higher power. But then you got religion, which also could be divisive, and it's not supposed to be divisive. Catholics, Christians, Muslims, Buddhists. Christians say this, Catholics say that. It's like there's a common trend for everything. It's always divisive. At the end of the day, we have to worry about ourselves, worry about our family, those close to us, and lead them as best we can to the one true higher power. But to go into Zach's question too.
I think there's a good question. Yeah. Can
Yeah. Yeah, you could go for it, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
He asked for the person that did shoot and kill Charlie Kirk, what do you guys think should happen to that guy?
I mean, obviously, life in prison. I think the real question that people are asking, should he be given the death penalty? And that in and of itself is it's also a deep question. Should we have the right to kill someone for committing certain atrocities against humanity? I think there's three types of people that I think could be fall in that conversation: rapists, pedophiles, and terrorists. So you fall in one of those three categories. I guess you consider him a terrorist. He was a
You
murderer,
could
right?
consider him a terrorist.
So it's hard to say, do we even have the right to kill someone? Is that our duty? Is that something that we should have the power to do? And I really don't know the answer to that question, because the human part of me, the flesh, tells me, yeah, kill him, right? But at the same time, it's like, is that my call to make that decision, to take a life, right? And isn't that also just letting him get kind of the easy way out?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you can say it's an easy way out. He has to not deal with nothing anymore.
Yeah, but at the same time, well, then there's hell awaiting him as well, right? So it's kind of it's a tough question, and honestly, I don't know, because then at the same time, what would Jesus say about it, right? Is it okay to take the life of another man because he committed something that, I mean, it's one of the worst acts that you can commit against someone, which is murder. And so, but then again, you kind of talk about it with the Bible, and it's like, well, what he did is no different than you lying, right? You cheating on your partner or
Stealing.
because all sin is equal. So, which is very hard for us to comprehend, right? All sin being equal, but that's kind of what the Bible says. And so, is it upon us to take that into our own hands and make that decision on behalf of God, of who deserves to live and who deserves to die? And it's kind of the same point. Like, how could you be an advocate for, pro-life, right? But then at the same time still support the death penalty?
That's a good analogy right there too. I didn't think about that.
So how do you make that decision? I'd say the obvious and easiest answer is to say, well, life in prison.
Yeah.
Life in prison, no parole, right? But if you want to go more farther than that, then I think that's whenever we have to have a real conversation of what do we believe is morally acceptable, especially as believers in Christ. Is the death penalty something that is our decision to make?
And also too, it's kind of caught me off guard. If my memory serves correctly, when growing up, how we had those, you might relate to this, like, did you ever have to go to the Catholic schools, like on Wednesday or Saturday? It's called CCE or something like that. I remember something where they said that in Catholicism that all sins are not equal. There's something called a cardinal sin or something like that, where the cardinal sin is breaking one of the 10 commandments, like murder, stealing, adultery. But then you have like the regular sins that would not be as bad. I'm not entirely sure the specifics on it, but I do remember learning at one point that all sins were not equal. And now as I get older and I learn more, you're the second, third person I've heard say that all sins are equal, which is kind of like, it is a hard concept to grasp. Like, dang, committing an assassination, which is crazy, by the way. 2 assassination, 1 an attempt and 1 a success in the past 2 years. And before that, the last one was, I believe, JFK, which I'm not exactly sure on the date on that. But it was a while ago. I mean, I could say that. It was a while ago.
Was it like maybe the 70s, I think?
Yeah, and we had 2 within the past 2 years. That's crazy to think about.
Who's the other one?
Donald Trump, when they tried to kill him.
Oh, yeah.
An attempt versus a success, though.
Allegedly, what I heard, there was 2 attempts on him.
It's an attempt is still crazy, though.
I don't know if y'all knew about that, but yeah, I heard there was another attempt on him as well.
But that happened, and then, okay, there was no repercussions, there was no voicing, there was no nothing, and then they did it again, and this time they were successful, which I saw that. Hold on. But overall, I mean, the whole thing is wild. We could, go way deeper into all of it, but overall, I see it as an attack on free speech, the First Amendment.
For what? What's an attack?
The assassination of someone
okay.
speaking their thoughts and
yeah.
opinions, which is like, it's weird. It's just crazy. I can't think about it. In broad daylight, people were watching the news, and like, going back to when I was getting my haircut, they got kids in high school. Their kids came in from high school. They were talking whatever, doing kid things, and out of nowhere here in the court, like, out of my ear, did you see the video of that dude getting shot in the neck? I'm like, bro, you're in high school. You should not be seeing that. It's unfortunate that you did see it, but then, that's all they're thinking about now. That's all, this dude got killed, or I can, it's from there, it's a whole nother ballgame. Social media, man, it's a monster.
to give my opinion on what he just asked, what should we do with the alleged attacker or the suspect, whatever you want to call him, right? I'm a person that wants to seek truth. So I think publicly we should question the guy. Publicly. Live. You know what I'm saying? Get some answers out of this guy. Why?
Live interrogation.
For what? Who? You know?
Where? Or wait, we know where.
Where's Rachel?
Close my other words.
Where's Rachel?
You know, like, I would like to know. You know, and I
For
think
sure.
being live, it'd be pretty difficult to kind of. I mean, if it was set up correctly, it'd be kind of difficult for him to be, hey, you say this, say that, right?
At the same time, on the other note, right, that also gives him an opportunity to spread whatever ideology that he does have
Yep.
to poison other people's minds. That people, because whenever you do put someone in front of a camera, this is part of the problem, right? You humanize them. You get to see someone as a human, especially if he starts crying or if someone takes out an emotion, they punch him, he starts bleeding. You humanize him, and then all of a sudden he starts talking, and then all of a sudden people are like, hey, what he's saying doesn't actually kind of make some sense. And then you start having people that are become followers and believers, and also maybe it ignites in them like, hey, this guy actually isn't wrong, you know. But that's just another note.
Well, and the crazy thing is, he's only 22. He's younger than us.
That's why I'm saying, I'm like, I don't know if it was the guy, but anyways.
You know,
Tinfoil.
people,
Tinfoil.
you know, tinfoil hat.
Anyways.
It could be the fall guy, but it's just crazy. A 22-year-old, you know, he's the biggest thing. Oh, that's a white man too. On top of that, killing another white man. You know, you can get all controversial with it, all personal with it. But at the end of the day, it's like we can all agree there's a bigger problem that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, like I said, I would like to seek truth, kind of figure out what his motives, why was it really him, you know? And I think we could get answers of what he says.
But I could
And
agree
then
with Derek
so-
real quick though. Like, yeah, easiest solution: life in prison, no parole.
And
If
I
it wasn't.
And I think, ironically enough, I think Charlie Kirk actually touched base on this, on the death penalty, on that topic with Christianity and religion. Don't quote me on this, correct me if I'm wrong, but he stated something about, I don't want to say there's kind of like a balance, or there's kind of like, it's a gray area. It says, thou shalt not murder, right? Like, you shouldn't murder. But I think if I remember correctly, he said something about still, like, let's just say you have to defend yourself, life or death. And
Well, that comes down to definitionally, what is murder?
well, this is just based off, like I said, what I heard from Charlie Kirk. I believe he did talk and discuss about this. But murder, I guess you could say, definitionally is just killing someone.
Killing with intent.
Yeah, with intent, right? So, I don't know. That's a good question. Similar to Derek saying, my flesh would say death penalty right away.
I think we.
But I
most
want
people would agree.
answers though. I want answers though. Like,
Yeah.
I want to know,
Why he did
is
it.
this just, can we confirm, is this just a fall guy, or was it really him? At the end of the day, I don't know. I can assume that, hey, it's just a fall guy, but at the end of the day, I don't really know. And
I mean, look, this is something that, because you talk about this, right? Think about the fall guy. And it's kind of like, well, who's the one that initiated JFK's assassination, and why was he assassinated in the first place? Why was he assassinated in the first place?
Politics, bro, is wild.
Right? And you look at what happened before and what happened after. The same thing with 9/11, right? What happened before, what happened after. And so I think it's kind of one of those things like, well, is this a red herring, like how we talked about? It's just meant to make us look a certain way. Either way, it's a tragedy, right? But it's I don't know. And the thing is it possible for even us to know exactly, was this a hit put on by somebody? Because I've seen some clips floating around of some things that Charlie Kirk had said and mentioned. And here's the thing: you don't want to touch the The bear. You don't want to poke the bear.
You don't want to get too close to the sun.
And you know what? And everyone knows what the bear is. Everyone knows what the sun is that you don't want to touch. You start talking about it, and all of a sudden things start happening. People start dying. Right? You can't touch. You can't talk about a certain thing. There's one particular.
To start with the I.
I should say. Should I say a nation state? Right? There's something that you don't talk about, and this is something that I've had a conversation with my mom about, actually. And
it goes deeper, man. It goes deeper, man.
Well, let me tell you, I've dove in a lot into what's exactly going on in Israel. If you want to just go ahead and say it, right? What's going on over there, and the conflict with Palestine, and mainly how did we get wrapped up into it in the first place? So, a little bit of brief history, right? I gotta take a leak too.
Me too, actually. So I guess that's a sign we should probably wrap it up in these next few thoughts.
We can keep going. We can keep going.
Yeah, really? So we can take bathroom breaks mid podcast.
Sure. Yeah. Might as well, right?
Right.
We got plenty of time.
And then this is live now, and we got Zach in here. He's being pretty engaged. We got 4 or 5 people in here. I mean, we can keep it going for a little bit longer.
Well, here's my thing. A little bit of history. So with Israel, of course, Jews from Judea, they got forced out of what's modern day Israel, and by the Ottoman Empire, and then they got forced to Europe, and then Nazi happened. Nazi Germany happened. Didn't feel like there was a home for them in Europe, and so Zionism started. And Zionism is just the idea that the Jews should have their own nation state in Israel. So that's whenever that rose, and then they started going back to Israel. But while they were gone, there was people that occupied it, and that's Palestine, modern day Palestine. So it's like, okay, they had a homeland, they were forced out, a bunch of atrocities happened, they were left with no home, and so they just wanted to go back basically to where their ancestors lived. But when they left, there was people still there, right? Palestinians. And so they come back, and now what was recognized unofficially as Palestine, and now they come back, but there's people there, and that's a lot of conflict starting with, okay, well, who actually has rights to this land? And so it goes back and forth plenty, but it's just interesting to see how tied we are as Americans to this and to this war, right? And it's just like we're kind of forced as Americans to automatically accept that we're on Israel's side, right? We're very pro-Israel as Americans, and this is the thing that's been true for forever. The only president that kind of wanted to take a step back from them was JFK, So now here we are, and we've had plenty of lineage of presidents that support Israel, and we're kind of forced to support them. But now here we are, and this war is still going on, and Israel has dragged us into a lot of different things. I mean, the war in Iraq, the war in Iran, and then now we're in the middle of this conflict in the Middle East.
So many questions, man.
So it's like, I don't know. I think the main thing that I'm trying to get at is we're kind of forced to be involved in a lot of things. As the world's superpower, we're kind of the world's police. And we have a lot of issues here in America that we won't address. But at the same time, we're still helping out the rest of the world. And we still got a lot of problems here.
Yeah, that goes back to that car thing. Like, we're trying to help someone else fix their car, but our tires are still flat.
Yeah.
Like what this dude, Zach, said, this deserves to have a sit down with the 30-pack and just talk all night about these topics and go down the wormhole. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. And I think off camera, we can discuss a lot about it and go into depth with it. But, I think on YouTube we can only go so far, so deep.
Before they take us off.
Fucking flagged or some shit. But it's a lot of questions, man. A lot of questions that have risen and I think it's getting harder and harder. I think it's getting more difficult to know what the actual truth is. What's the truth? And I believe that the only actual truth that is guaranteed right now is God, bro. Like that's the only thing I keep on. I'm sorry that I keep on turning to God, but that's the only thing I can.
Don't be sorry about your faith, brother.
I can only, that's the only answer that I have,
Mhm.
because what, like, what is going to happen next? We don't know. It could be war, could be civil war, revolution. It could be many things. End of times. We don't know. And
It's crazy though too. The end of time statement. I kind of started taking it not that seriously because the end of times have been happening for like the past, 10 years or so. Every
10
year,
plus years.
every year is the end of times. Every
Yeah.
year is the end of times. 2012 was the end of times, but maybe if you look at the big picture, 10, 20 years isn't that big compared to God meant the end of times is within the next 100 years. It's only going to get worse before the actual true end of times comes. We might not even be here, or maybe the end of times is when we pass. Maybe it's individual for everybody, maybe, or we could even go say maybe he doesn't know it was our part 2 type of thing, flood the world again.
My
and the
brain
world
hurts
again.
right now with all these questions floating
Yeah,
around
it's
in my
it's
mind,
and it's
bro.
it's crazy because
It's
there's
just-
so much to learn. There's so much to know. There's so much to talk about.
I try not to be a conspiracy theorist,
never-
but what's going on
The
makes it
problem
so
is you
more
never know
difficult.
what's true or what's not true either. At the same time, because like as you mentioned, the winners write history,
Yeah,
and so
I was just mentioning this to Jeremy. I was just like, man, this just makes it more and more difficult to believe what's true. And like I said, like I was mentioning to Jeremy, the only thing that's guaranteed to be the truth is God.
yeah.
Like that's
is-
the only
is-
thing I can think of
is
right
Jesus Christ. That's the only thing that we can plant our roots and foundation in, and live from that. And I think that's, I know, I think that's the ultimate answer,
now.
because there are a lot of questions. There's a lot of things that we could go and talk about, and at the end of the day, I think we'll kind of arrive at the same conclusion. Like, yeah, actually, we have no idea, and we won't know whether that's purposefully designed to lead that way or not. There are things that we will not know, and
I think we're just gonna have to fuck around and find out.
we're just gonna have to find out, and we
Yeah.
may never find out.
Yeah.
We just have to live our lives as best as we can, and I think it's according to God's will as much as humanly possible. Fight the good fight, try to win people for Jesus, and I think ultimately it might end up leading us to face persecution, as it led Charlie Kirk for speaking the truth. And so, but that's just kind of that's what it means to be a follower of Christ. And it's not something that is new. Around the world, Christians are persecuted, and Jesus was crucified because because of it. So I don't. It's nothing new. Exactly, and so it's nothing new. It was told that it would
Jesus
happen
Christ
again.
never lies. Still was crucified.
There's a
Shout
bar.
out A$AP
So,
Rocky.
so yeah, but that's something. It's just that ain't new, and we'll see where the future goes and what the future holds for us. But all we can say is plant yourself in God, plant yourself in Jesus Christ, read your Bible, and the answers that you're looking for are somewhere in there. And whenever it's so hard to rely on what's being told, everything that's being told to us, as Raul mentioned, the only thing that you can rely on that is 100% truth is Jesus Christ. And so,
And let me test real quick. This is on again, right? I have a bad habit of fiddling with the button right here.
You
But
like
I
fiddling with things, all right?
Oh my goodness. All right. Anyways, but overall, yeah, we can put on the tinfoil hats. We can talk about politics. We can conspiracize. We can say this, say that. But overall, yeah, I agree 100%. The only truth is the Bible. The only way is following Jesus Christ, and we can only do that the best we can. And you can be on the other end of the spectrum and not give a dang about anything that's going on in the world, and just hide in your little cubbyhole, continue to live life as normal, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you can do the same thing. We can do the same thing, but at the same time, in the face of fear, don't hide your beliefs. Don't hide your values. Don't, if asked, speak. Or if you're feeling a little bit more bold, just tell someone about Jesus anyways this weekend. You don't have to be asked. I feel like me personally, I'm gonna keep grinding. I'm gonna keep moving forward. I've had plenty of people tell me, which is crazy. I had plenty of people tell me that they're proud of me, that I'm doing good. Don't give up. Don't let you come so far to let someone small-minded ruin your life, or to stoop down to their level. To get into something that's completely unnecessary. And I'm like, I have a fire lit under me, not just for God now, but for me and my future and my family. Because I think about our kids. I think about my little niece. I think about my nephew Oscar. Your nieces and nephews. What's it gonna be like for them when we're gone? We can only hope that we do enough to where they're living comfortably, at the very least, when our time comes. And that's what I'm on right now. I'll tell people about God. If someone's gonna question me, I'll talk to them without personal insults. But that's gonna take some work. I might get mad and I might start throwing, f-bombs here and there, slurs. But overall, I'm gonna do my best to be that person that's grinding, doing it the right way, doing what is no longer considered normal. And I have this crazy thought: what if, from all these cartoons and comics and movies we've watched, what if the villains were right? The Joker, Thanos. Those are the two that come to my mind quickly. Joker he's a bad guy, but he kind of made sense. Thanos, he was trying to wipe out half of the world, but if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. So it's like you said, the truth is subjective, I think, but the truth that is not subjective is the Bible. Those are my closing thoughts.
Turn to God, turn to faith. Keep your head up. Stay true to your beliefs. Don't be stupid. Don't be ignorant. Don't be arrogant. Seek truth. Truth in God. God bless America.
Amen.
And God bless the world. And
Amen.
like always, guys, we'll see you guys at the top. Those are my final words.
Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk.
Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk.
Well, all we can do
Rest in peace
is
to all those... Charlie Kirk, that lady, the Ukrainian lady,
two murdered in
all
their
those
home.
The
kids. Rest in
kids in
peace,
the
all of
schools.
them, for
Rest in peace,
Rest in peace,
them.
all of them. It's a horrible
and
time,
prayers up
tragic
to the
time.
people that had experienced that, the families.
The world needs
The
God
children.
more than ever now.
It does, and we need each other more than ever. I do believe that. I do believe we do need... Something has to unite us, and I was hoping that maybe if one thing can come out of this is that we would start uniting together against the evil that in this world, and maybe this will lead to that. Only time will tell, but we love y'all.
Love y'all.
Catch y'all on the next one very soon. Live every week. So
New
love
format.
y'all. New format.
Yeah, I like this. I
All
really
right.
did.
I liked it
It was
too.
a good one.